introduce yourself to the jury, please.
My name is Jordan Kravitz.
How old are you, Miss Kravitz?
I'm 67.
And where do you live?
I live in Lone Star County on Candy Valley Lane.
Is that in the French Quarter Trailer Park?
Yes,
How long have you lived there?
quite some time.
And do you know Mr. Seeger?
Yes, he is my neighbor. He lives across the street from me.
Now, you mentioned that you are 67 years old. Do you have any health issues?
Nope, I am perfectly fine. I have great eyesight, great hearing. Doctor says I'm clean as me.
Let's go back to your relationship with Mr. Seeger. You stated that you know him. Can you tell us a little bit about your relationship with him?
Sure. Well, when he first moved in, I like to be the neighborhood welcoming committee. So I just kind of went over and brought him some iced tea. It was a hot day. And just introduced myself. And from then on, he would just kind of help me around my house. I can't put light bulbs in sometimes, so he would come in and do the small things like that.
And what about his relationship with Miss Testa? Do you know Miss Testa?
I sure do.
And what do you know of her?
I know that they had a relationship of sorts, and she moved in with him.
And what do you know? Do you know them well?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
What do you know about Mr. Seeger's drinking habits?
Mr. Seegers?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, he hadn't had a drop of liquor in some time now.
What about Miss Testa's drinking habits?
Well, she does like to have a little bit of...
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation at this point. They haven't laid any foundation to how this witness would know any experiences she would have seen and observed of Miss Testa drinking.
Any response?
Yes, Your Honor. This is based on the witness's rationally based perception. She already stated that she was very good friends with them. She spent a lot of time with them, and we're not asking whether she knew every single instance in which Miss Testa drank, but just to her knowledge, what was her knowledge of the drinking habits of Miss Testa?
The objection is sustained at this time. I'd ask you to rephrase the question in a more pointed manner to elicit that point.
Yes, Your Honor. To your knowledge, what were Miss Testa's drinking habits?
She liked Red Bull and lemon.
Objection, Your Honor. The same objection. This is still speculation. She hasn't said any instances where she's experienced this or seen this.
The objection is sustained. You're going to have to ask more.
Move to strike, Your Honor.
Instead of stricken.
I'll move on. Let's talk a little bit about June 14th. What were you doing that night?
Well, I was sitting at home, just popping me a bag of popcorn, and I was getting ready to order my favorite movie on demand, Steel Magnolias. And I had the windows and in my trailer open because it was such a hot night, and I usually like to keep them open like that.
So what, if anything, did you hear that night?
I heard a lot of commotion coming from across the street, and so I, as being a peacekeeper sometimes, just peeked out my window to see what was going on, and that's when I saw Mr. Seeger and Adriana coming out of the house.
And what did Miss Testa do when she came out of the house?
She was making all kinds of commotion. She was yelling and screaming like a crazy person, and she was just running straight down the road.
What, if anything, was Miss Testa saying when she was running?
She was yelling, "Stop hitting me."
And did you see the defendant?
I did.
And what was he doing to Miss Testa when she was screaming, "Stop hitting me"?
He was running behind her, but he wasn't yelling anything, but he did have a hammer in his hand.
What, if anything, did he do with that hammer?
He was just running with it.
And did he ever hit her?
I never saw him.
And can you tell us a little bit more about the proximity in which they were running? Did Mr. Seeger ever catch up to Miss Testa?
No, not that I ever saw. So when she came out of the house, she went down our road and went towards Royal Drive. And at some point, she was out of my eyesight. And so that's when I called 911.
Can you explain a little bit more how she was running, the way she was running and weaving?
Well, she was running like crazy. And so when she went straight down Candy Valley Lane towards Royal Drive, she was just running all over the place. I mean, she was stumbling and falling, and but Mr. Seeger never could catch up with her, is what I remember.
Let's move on to a little bit more what's happening present day. Have you observed Miss Testa at the trailer?
Since then?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
How often?
Well, she lives there by herself now, so, I mean, every day, just about.
And what did she come to clarify to you about what happened on June 14th?
Well, since that event, I came to learn that she lied to the police about her
Objection, Your Honor.
statement on that day.
speculation that she actually lied to the police. She can go into this statement pursuant to Rule 613 that Ms. Testa made to her, but actually saying that this is a fact to the jury would be speculation.
Rephrase the question.
What, if anything, did you learn? What, if anything, did Miss Testa tell you about the altercation on June 14th?
So on that day, she told me that there was this Elvis hanging that Mr. Seeger wanted to hang, and she just hated it. And she said that if he hung it, she would make up a story, which she did, that
Objection.
he hit her.
Speculation that she did make up this story.
Your Honor, if I may, Miss Testa was already here testifying today in which she made a statement that she never changed her story. So this is going to show a prior inconsistent statement by Miss Testa. It is not being used for the truth of the matter.
Objection is sustained.
Do you need me to repeat the question?
No.
What did Miss Testa come to clarify about the night of June 14th?
That she was going to run out into the street, and she did run out into the street, or that she told me that she did run out into the street saying, stop screaming me, screaming, stop hitting me. And she had threatened that she was going to do that if he continued hanging up the picture, which she did.
What, if anything, did you come to learn about the actual physical altercation between Mr. Seeger and Miss Testa that she told you?
Well, she had told me that she was so drunk that night that she was falling and stumbling while she was running.
Nothing further.
Cross-examination.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Kravitz, correct me if I'm wrong, but on direct examination, you said that you actually saw Ms. Testa fall on the ground.
I did. That was an incorrect statement. I learned that she was falling as she was running based on what she told me later.
But you never yourself saw that.
Correct.
Now, I'd like to talk about your relationship with the defendant. He fixes everything for you, right?
Small things like when I can't reach a light bulb, and if I've got a cabinet door that just keeps hanging off front.
And he never even charges you for that, right?
No, he's such a sweet thing.
And you would say that you and him are very good friends.
Neighbors and friends that help each other out.
Actually, you would say that he is your very good friend, right?
Sure.
And today you're here testifying for your very good friend.
Sure. I was taught him to do that.
I'd like to talk a bit about that area that you were that night. You were at your home on Caney Bayou, right?
Mm-hmm.
You recognize a map of that area if I showed it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Your Honor, at this time, I'm showing opposing counsel. It has been pre-marked as Exhibit 1 for identification purposes. Permission to approach the witness with the same document? Now, Ms. Kravitz, this is a map of that area you were in, correct?
Yes.
And it appears to be fair and accurate.
Yes.
All the roads seem to be in place.
Yep.
Nothing has changed in any way.
Nope.
Your Honor, at this time, the state offers Exhibit 1 into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
And I also ask that I may set up the courtroom for a demonstrative of that exhibit to publish to the jury.
You may.
Now, Ms. Kravitz, this is that same map I just showed you, right?
Right.
Nothing seems to be changed in any way?
No.
I'd like to talk about what you saw that night. You were on this road, Caney Bayou, right?
Yes, that would be my street.
And Adriana Testa, she left out of her home also located on Caney Bayou.
Right.
And you saw her run on Caney Bayou.
Yes.
You could see her the entire time she was there, right?
On that road. Yeah.
And you never once saw her fall, did you?
No.
On this entire road.
Well, I mean, on the part that we live on towards Royal.
On Caney Bayou.
Right.
And I'd like to talk about the statement that you claim she made to you. You said that she told you she received her injuries from falling, right?
That wouldn't be the exact words that she said. She just said that she was so drunk that she fell a lot.
So actually the exact quote that you claim she told you was that she received her injuries from falling on Caney Bayou Lane, right?
That particular road.
That she actually came to your home and told you she received her injuries from falling on Caney Bayou Lane.
Sure.
And just to clarify, that's that same road that you could see her on the entire time.
Sure.
The same road where you never saw her fall.
Nope.
I'd like to talk about an incident that you saw that night. You saw something that worried you enough to call 911, right?
When she left my vision, yeah, that's when I called.
And you'd recognize a 911 call transcript if I showed it to you?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time I'm approaching opposing counsel with what has been pre-marked as Exhibit 8 for identification purposes. Permission to approach the witness with that same document?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Ms. Kravitz, this is a transcript of that 911 call you made that night, right?
Right.
And it fairly and accurately transcribes the entire conversation you had with that operator, right?
Let me take a minute to look. Yes.
Nothing appears to be altered in any way.
No, it doesn't.
Your Honor, at this time, the state offers Exhibit 8 into evidence. Pursuant to the stipulations, any and all objections have been waived.
It is so admitted pursuant to the stipulations.
And I'd like to talk about what you told the operator that night. You saw Adriana Testa run out of her home, correct?
Yes.
And there was a lot of blood on her, wasn't there?
Yeah, I said, let me see, she's got a bunch of blood running down her back.
So this blood was just running down her back when you saw her?
Yes.
And she was yelling for help, right?
Holler and help me, yeah.
And she was screaming for you to call the police, right?
She was screaming, stop hitting me.
So she was running down this road yelling repeatedly, stop hitting me, stop hitting me.
Mhm.
Thank you. I have no further questions, Your Honor. Permission to approach, retrieve, and publish to the jury the exhibits.
Yes, ma'am. Redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Kravitz, when Miss Testa was screaming, "Stop hitting me," where was the defendant?
Oh, it's behind her.
Did you ever see him hit her?
No, he never did, that I saw.
Now, how is your testimony affected today by your relationship with Mr. Seeger?
It's not. I was called here to do my duty.
Nothing further.